I think it was 2015. It was one of the first Lost Media searches I even followed back on the old wiki before we moved to the website, which is now the Lost Media Archive, which is garbage. So don't don't go there. But back all those years ago, one of the first searches I ever was interested in was the search for these McDonald's VHS tapes. It was like a VHS tape series that the company Klasky Chupo animated for McDonald's, and they were like Ronald McDonald's Wacky Adventures, I think was the name of it. And they were like 6 VHS tapes. 5 of them were really common, and you could find them all over the place. But there was a 6th one, I believe, that was very, very hard to find. It had only existed in very limited quantities. Someone came forward in the comments section and said that they had it, right? And that was a pretty big deal at the time because we had been looking for it. You know, of course we believed them and we're like, "Oh, that's great. Can you get it online? Can you show us some proof? Can you do something?" And I remember the user's name. I guess I won't say it. It's a funny name though, but it's, I guess, maybe on a live stream setting, it's not really the best idea to shout it out. But I remember the guy's name, and when we asked him to give us some kind of proof or whatever, he was patient with us or whatever. He's like, "Oh, I want to get this online for you guys, but I have to get my setup correct and this and this and that. So it might be a little while." And we're like, "Okay, that's totally fine, right? Because you can't demand someone give you something and immediately get it, right?" So we're like, "Cool, take your time, man." But then like a couple of weeks went by and we're like, "Hey, how's the setup going? Are you still gonna still gonna upload the tape for us?" And he was kind of like, "Yeah, I've just been busy trying to order this and that or whatever to get it." And we're like, "Okay, cool." Then more time goes by, and finally he gives us some proof that it's actually real what he has. And he takes a picture of the TV screen with a bunch of different scenes from the episode that prove it's real. So this was real Lost Media. He really had the tape. And we're like, "Oh, that's really cool. Like, when are you going to get around to doing the thing, to getting it on for us?" And like at that point, he had kind of like, I don't know if he just didn't really care about it anymore or if he was just getting impatient with us, even though like it had been like a month or two at that point. After even more time, and it was just dumb at this point because it was literally like a game of back and forth. Like, he says to us he had ordered all this stuff and he was going to get it online, and he just wouldn't do it. And then I guess where the story is headed is, after a while, we started like not really calling him out on it, but we started looking for other alternatives to get this thing found, because we were thinking like, okay, he's not going to help us. We got to find someone else in the community that can get us a copy and get it located, right? And then at that point, it pissed him off or something, and he's like, "Oh, you guys feel that way about my contributions to the Lost Media wiki, well, if that's how you want it, I'm not going to upload it for you guys now." And it became this really weird, like, war of words that like came down to us kind of saying to the guy, like, "Well, you've been taking so long and you've been leading us on. You pretty much led us on. That like, what else are we gonna do? Just wait for you to never upload it?" And then his like other argument, because I think we even said to him at one point, like, we would take a recording from his TV screen. We just wanted it didn't have to be in perfect quality, so even that would have been fine. But he kind of like flipped the script and he became like a hoarder, a Lost Media hoarder. And like after a point, he just held on to the tape and didn't release it, just like out of spite, and it just created this really like toxic. I remember like the talk page for that article. It got really, really toxic. And like, like people were calling each other out and everything. And like, it was just so bad, literally because he was unwilling to work with us. And like, to him, having the tape and having no one else be able to watch it meant more than just getting any bit of it online for us. And eventually we did find someone else who had a copy, and they just got it online like the next day for us, which was crazy. And at that point, the other guy who had it, the original guy, he kind of just like slithered away. We never heard from him again because he was literally just doing it for the attention. He had it. He kept promising he was going to get it on for us. Months and months and months went by. Okay, maybe not months, weeks and weeks and weeks. It's probably like maybe 3 months altogether before we finally found the second copy of it, you know, and he was just a very hostile user and he didn't even need to be. If he had just like gotten his equipment together or just taken the video from his TV, which we were fine with, like it would have been fine. But instead it turned into this like really dumb like argument like you know thing that happened, and it's just so stupid how the whole thing unfolded. And I think to some extent, again, like not that it's happening within the Lost Media wiki community right now, but I see it in the greater scene where people, it's not even that people actually have pieces of Lost Media, they're hoarding. That in itself is a different issue, but people who just claim they have real pieces of Lost Media and then like just don't release it or don't give us any like indication that they have it or don't. I guess an example I'm thinking of right now and kind of what led to this whole thing is the Super Y pilot. So that was something that I don't even know how that even got popular. I honestly can't remember. We talked about it last week, I think, and I had actually picked up the search and I had been doing my own research on it, and it was really hard to find information for the Super Y pilot. Anyway, I got word that someone on the Lost Media archive like had a copy of the pilot and that they were going to upload it or something. But that was like several weeks ago, and like these excuses and these weird like rabbit holes kept popping up like I thought John was going to upload the pilot. Oh, that's John A. You mean John B? And it was this really confusing thing. I'm just like, what is it? And people kept asking me, and they kept telling me like in DMs, hey, don't bother looking for the Super Y pilot because this guy has it. And I'm just like, no, he doesn't have it. Because if he had it, he would have uploaded it by now or given us any kind of proof that he actually had it. It kind of like spreads false information and misinformation. And I think that is what's more damaging than anything else. Like I don't care if I have to answer 100 questions about it, but I just don't want people believing in something that isn't real, because that's a bad reflection on the community and a bad reflection on like the people who contribute to the community.